Welcome back to Wavelengths, everybody. We got a special PGA Championship edition. I have Jacob Lucas. I have Preston Helfand with me. PGA Championship back. Well, not in its. This is its new normal time of year because it used to be in August, buried behind preseason football, but now it is in May before Memorial Day for all eyes to gaze upon. Big tournament. A lot of people finally coming around. Rory, Jordan Spieth, of course. Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson still a little banged up. So Jacob Lucas, let's start with you. What is your expectation for this major this weekend?
Yeah, so I expect that we're going to see a lot of competition for that top spot. I think some names you'll probably see close to the top is Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Daniel Berger. I think John Rahm's going to be in it a bit. I think this course can play to John Rahm's strengths. I think John Rahm's he hasn't been too bad recently. As far as I know, I haven't been able to keep up as much as I'd like, but I know he's been doing pretty solid. I think he'll be up there. If I had to choose, I'd say I think Rory McIlroy is going to win it. He's done it before. He knows how to win on this course. He's gaining that momentum after a Wells Fargo victory.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, to be honest. I think just looking at the history of the course when it was played in 2012 when Rory picked up the win, he's like you said, he's kind of been finding his groove lately. Won the Wells Fargo 2 weeks ago or so. I think he's the favorite for a reason. He's at plus 1200, so it's a pretty good bet in my opinion. So yeah, I'd have to go with Rory as well.
For those of you that aren't familiar with Kiowa Island in South Carolina, it is an enormous course. Like, this is the thing that Bryson DeChambeau thought about when he put on 40 pounds of, I'm just going to bang this thing around for 72 holes and then, hopefully it goes in a couple times. It is the biggest PGA Championship course ever by about, I think it's like 400 yards. It's massive. So all the guys that you see hit it far, DeChambeau, obviously, Dustin Johnson, Koepka, they're up there. So this is going to be how far can I hit it? And then let's hope that the short game can just even be half of what my driving ability is. So whoever really, can get a hold of them for 72 holes, that's going to be the one to win. I don't think finesse is going to win you this major. So I'm curious, Jacob, are you agreeing with me, or do you think that even though it's a big course, that someone's going to have to be very technical and that's how they'll win?
I think it's going to have to be a mix. I think you're going to see a lot. It's going to have to be, how can you drive the ball? Like you said it, it's the biggest course. You got to be able to drive the ball far, but a lot of strokes are lost on that green and on the chips and everything, hitting into the bunker. So I think that short game is really going to be important. You say that for every single tournament, I know, but I really think you're going to have to hit a balance between that finesse and that strength. And that's part of the reason I think Rory is so heavily favored, because I know he's been struggling recently. Obviously, Quail Hollow was a different thing. He won that. He's kind of getting there, but when he's playing at his prime, he drives one of the furthest balls on the tour. So I think that's really going to play into his strength, this large course, if he's hot, because he's going to be hitting it far and he's going to be hitting into the fairway.
Yeah, I agree with what Jacob said. You can't just be pure power when it comes to golf. We've seen that time and time again. Um, Even at in 2012, the rounds was very windy. It messed up a lot of the golfers there. So if you're just banging it into the sky the whole time, you can't rely on that. Course is right next to the ocean. It's going to be windy. It's not going to be. You can't just smash it all day. So you'll definitely need that bit of finesse. Probably more on power for sure. But yeah, Jacob said it perfectly. Just need a good mix of both.
So Preston, that we're talking about distance and stuff. You sent me something a little while ago that I found very interesting, and I would like for you to share with everyone.
Yeah, it's a little article about Tony Finau, who just found out that rangefinders would be allowed at the PGA Championship, like handheld rangefinders that you put up to your ear and look at the hole with, which I find kind of funny that a veteran like Finau, who's been on the tour for years, doesn't know a simple thing like what can and can't be used. And yeah, you'd think his
Oh, I
caddy
thought you
would
were saying
plan it
that's a
out.
new rule. I'm gonna
Oh,
be honest. I didn't know the rule on rangefinders either. I thought you were saying that's a new rule. That's just been there,
oh
but he
no.
didn't know.
I think it's relatively new, but like, yeah, most people knew it, and he just, yeah,
That's pretty funny.
yeah, or like he hasn't been using one recently because he didn't know. Yeah,
Wow.
Which is like crazy because it's not like one of the three of us playing in the PGA Championship. Like Tony Finau consistently gets like top 10 in majors, and he's like
Oh,
doing that. Not that a rangefinder is an enormous advantage because obviously everybody can use it, but the fact that he's still being this good without it, I mean, maybe with it it'll help him a little bit. But it's fascinating that he had no idea. Like, how does this caddy just not like, oh, by the way, Tony, you can use this stuff now.
Yeah, right.
yeah, he's been around for
You,
years. Like you'd think he'd know that. Yeah,
and like even if he didn't know that, you would think someone would have told him by now.
I guess like if
yeah,
you're playing with them and you don't see him use one, you're not going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to tell him," like why not?
I guess not.
So Tony Finau
yeah.
is an interesting. We're talking about him, of course, and it's interesting. He's a guy that is always so close, but can never really win the big one. And there's an interesting stat that he's like won the most tournaments without winning a major, and he like always averages up very high in these tournaments. So, Jacob, is there anybody else like Finau that this could be their first major win?
Ooh, oh my gosh! Off the top of my head, I don't know who hasn't won a major and who needs to, but
So,
oh wow, that's
big guys
tough.
left. We got Finau, Ricky Fowler,
Yeah, Fowler hasn't.
Yeah,
DeChambeau. Oh
Fowler's
no,
never gonna win.
DeChambeau won
DeChambeau's
last
definitely
year.
won a major.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
he he won the one last year. Which
Um.
also, it's crazy. So I don't want to cut you off, but if you watch any golf, you see Bryson DeChambeau in a DraftKings commercial. I really think that because of that in endorsement, he just gets like the best odds every single tournament. Because like I'm a big fan of DeChambeau, what he's done for golf. That could be a whole other podcast about the complexities of it. But there's no way that in Las Vegas they're like, oh, for sure he's gonna win this one too. Like every single major, it's always DeChambeau minus 250 or whatever. I just don't get how so consistently he's all the way up.
Yeah, I was looking at the betting odds a little beforehand, and he is the sixth favorite at plus 1,700. So Rory's the favorite at plus 1,200, and he's right behind him at plus 1,700. Um, which I think is interesting. Obviously, like you said, the course slightly favors power, but I don't know. Seems a little high for a guy who's kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, and like what's so crazy about it is a couple weeks ago, the same tournament that Rory won, DeChambeau thought he was out, so he flew back home, then had to fly back to the course. So it's just, I mean, I don't want to, be the boy who cried wolf, but it's definitely interesting because he's only won one, but he's favored in every single one of them. So it's
Yeah.
definitely like an interesting, what might be, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I like Ricky Fowler, like kind of going back to hasn't won one. I like Ricky Fowler. I don't think this is going to be his tournament, but I do like him. I think that he's in a position to win one. Maybe not this year, but I think you're going to see him win one soon. This is someone who's won multiple majors, but Jordan Spieth. I don't know if you guys know this. This weekend, he has an opportunity to complete the career Grand Slam. Do you guys think he has a chance? Like, how do you think his odds fare completing the career Grand Slam this weekend?
One of my really good friends and I are enormous Jordan Spieth fans. What Jordan Spieth did at such a young age is incredible. Similar to Tiger, but no one can really compare to Tiger. But after his collapse at the Masters, what was that 2016 on 15 and like quadruple bogeyed it and lost what would have been his second straight Masters, and then kind of this rebuild and redesign of his whole career. And it's finally, like you said, he's gotten on to more top 10 finishes. He's fared a lot better. He was in contention late into Sunday at the Masters last month. So I think I mean, with everything Jordan Spieth does, it's very much if everything goes right, as especially because of COVID, we see him more now than ever able to talk to his ball and how he controls so much through his mind, he feels like. So he definitely, if he's in the right frame of mind, I think wind is going to be in his favor because the golf gods want to make up for some lost time and him not winning any.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So when I was like, I mean, I'm personally my personal favorite is Rory, but when I was like, who's going to be in the top, like at top of the field, I'm pretty sure I said Jordan Spieth, and if I didn't, then I'm going to correct myself right now. I think Spieth is going to compete. I really think that this could be the year that he gets that career Grand Slam.
It's crazy how he's like what 28, 27 ish,
Um, Something like that.
but he just got 3 of them like it was no big deal, and he almost won 2 Masters. It's crazy that I'm not saying that
27.
it took this long, but it's crazy at the trajectory he was going that now he's just needed the one for so long. And I think he's going to thrive in this sleeper type role where nobody expects much from him. And then come Saturday, it's, oh, Jordan Spieth has a 5-stroke lead. So that could be a very interesting wrinkle.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
exactly call him a sleeper. He's right now he's tied for second in terms of the betting odds, but certainly I think he has a great shot. Like you guys said, he's been playing a little better lately. Just that maybe he could have the luck on his side, the golf gods. But I think we all want to see him eventually complete the career Grand Slam. So why not right now? Seems like a perfect storm. Why won't it happen?
2 pairings early Thursday morning are some of the best in recent memory, especially in a major. So at 8:33 a.m., we have Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, and then at 8:44, Colin Morikawa, Bryson DeChambeau, and Hideki Matsuyama. It is like whoever decided these was like, yeah, let's get everybody that you would want to watch, but let's have them play at 8 in the morning. So you have to see like their last 4 holes at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know. It's like it's so good, but so terrible at the same time. It's like we are going to create amazing pairs. You're barely going to see them play.
Yeah,
And
I'll
then
be going through their first 6 holes or so. That's like 5:30 my time. So yeah.
another notable pairing, Tommy Fleetwood, John Rahm, Patrick Reed. Now they have a little bit later. They're at 1 o'clock. So when the coverage starts, they'll be just teeing off. So we'll get to see most of them. Patrick Reed is an interesting one. He has the right mix of power, and I feel like just precision with his short game that no one's really going to talk about him as one of the favorites, but he might sneak up on some people. I don't know if he's going to mess around and win the whole thing, but he's got the right game, I think, for this course and could make some noise.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I would agree. I don't think he's going to contend, but I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him, picking up some strokes and, at least making some of the people towards the top of the board sweat.
So, a guy who has dominated the major scene for quite some time, Brooks Koepka, came back at the Masters a little bit early than people suspected. So, Preston, he is coming off of a major knee injury, and everybody said he rushed it to play at Augusta, but he didn't care. Now it's been another month. Do you think with the injury, he can really make some noise, or is it still a little too soon and that might hold him back?
Um, I think it might be a little too soon, but the fact that he has some tournaments under his belt certainly gives him an advantage. Um, I don't. I would never recommend rushing back from a knee injury, especially the one he had. But if he felt right, I really can't fault him for the decision. I would definitely favor him more so, given the fact that he has those few tournaments under his belt recently. But again, I really don't back him to win it. Maybe an outside shot at a top 5 finish. Um, just the fact that he can hit the ball really damn far helps. Um, But again, yeah, probably looking at best 4th to 6th place finish, in my opinion.
Wow. I mean, nothing against Brooks Koepka. I think that's even a little high. I mean, this might sound like I'm just kind of going off what like the experts are feeding you on all their panels and stuff. I think he came back too soon. I think that he's not going to fare. He'll fare better than he did at Augusta for a couple of reasons. He's had more time, and Augusta's a much harder course than Kiowa is, so he'll fare better. But I still think that he's a little too soon removed from recovery, and he needed to take a little more time to work on himself, rehabilitate himself, and get back to playing at that top level. I like he's playing at obviously a PGA Tour level. He's not, bombing every tournament plus 20s, but he's not playing at the top level that the Brooks Koepka we know plays at. So I don't know. I feel like he's going to be an outside top 10 finish.
Yeah, I mean, he's the 2018 U.S. Open champ, right?
And then I think he won it in 2019 as well.
Yeah.
No, that was the year Gary Woodland won. So Brooks did it 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did it back-to-back years. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't think now is his time, but that's probably his ceiling. I could see anywhere, honestly, from like 30th to 6th or 4th. Yeah. I think what you said was fair. Yeah.
It's a little hard to pin down. He really could have wind up almost anywhere.
And what's interesting about Koepka's injury is kind of the precursor to this one before this year's Masters was in last year's PGA Championship, which was before the Masters in November. Koepka, I think it was on the Friday, he was in obvious pain, had to get his trainer out there, stretch him out early in his round. So he's been having this problem since October of last year. So it's affected. This will now be his second PGA Championship under some discomfort. It's affected 2 Masters. So I just think, as much as he wouldn't want to because it's a major and this is what golfers live for, I don't think that there's enough time in between, especially because that was October, November, a couple months off, April, and now it's May. So he's played 4 majors with really one good leg. So, I mean, of anybody to play through an injury as a golfer, I would take Brooks Koepka. I just think that he's built the maybe DeChambeau, because like he could probably like just run through a brick wall, but like naturally. So I think I'd take Brooks on, we'll call it 1.5 legs for sure.
To clear up some confusion on our end, it was 18-19 for the PGA Championship. 17-18 was his back-to-back U.S. Open victories.
I mean, that's pretty cool for him, though, that, like, he's won so many of them and gone back-to-back twice that we just, like, forgot him.
No, he's only won 4. He's only gone back-to-back twice. He's not won outside of the back-to-backs.
Yeah,
I still, back-to-back on the U.S. Open and PGA Championship is nuts.
Yeah, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but we were talking about career Grand Slams earlier. He's a guy, I just don't see him doing it, He has 2 left, got the Masters and the Open. Like, just the finesse the Masters takes, the short game, like, I don't think he has that. I don't mean to, like, be negative or put an emphasis on the fact that he won't succeed, but he's one of those guys. He's kind of close, but I don't see him doing it,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I mean, this is gonna be a bit of a ways out because they're still doing another Masters in November, right? This Masters champion only gets to be Masters champion for like.
Well, it's already over because
7
now Matsuyama is. Dustin Johnson was the shortest lasting and didn't make the cut.
I don't think
are they not doing another one in November?
No, because this year went normal.
Oh,
I think they're back on the schedule where it's Masters in April.
In May, right, they moved. Oh yeah, I do not like that. My bad. They moved it. I don't like.
They moved it all around. Yeah.
I don't honestly like. I know it's kind of fun. I don't really like that we have 4 majors in 4 months. I'd rather it be like a little more spaced out. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Got a little confused there on my end.
No, yeah, it's okay.
So everybody likes negativity for some reason, just a weird human thing. Jakob, who is a big name that will not be playing on Saturday?
Oh wow, you're really making me choose here. Hmm. I don't know how bold I want to be.
If you
For
want,
some,
if you want
for
time to
some,
think, I got two good
for
ones.
some reason. Oh yeah. You go. Actually, you go.
All right, first, it's a pretty obvious one, and I hate to be that guy, but Tiger Woods. We all know he's not going to be there Thursday or Friday. So sorry for a little dark humor there, but no, he will not be there Saturday. And my next one is Phil Mickelson. He's just too old, honestly. Like, I don't see him winning at all, much less getting, or yeah, just, or even getting to Saturday. Just doesn't have the power anymore. Like, yeah, he's past it. Everybody knows. So yeah, that's he's my pick.
Yeah,
Jacob,
I'm trying to think of how bold I should be because I could really be bold and
You can give us
say
multiple.
I my bold prediction is that Brooks Koepka's leg injury keeps him from getting this Saturday. That's my bold
Wow.
prediction. My more realistic prediction, definitely not as big of a name, is Mark Leishman. I think Mark Leishman might miss the cut. I don't know, kind of a gut instinct. It wouldn't surprise me if he made it. I mean, the big names, like they're big names for a reason. They consistently make cuts. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of them made it. But yeah, I've got to say my bold prediction, who's very unlikely, is going to have to be Kepka. And then not as bold, but still probably not going to be right, is Mark Leishman.
so my prediction for who won't make the cut is for a simple reason, but will be hard to hear. I am a big subscriber to the notion that history repeats itself, and there is reason why there is certain stigmas around certain things. One of those certain stigmas is that when we expect Rory McIlroy to do well, he doesn't, and he's done it his entire career essentially. It's something about we expect it, he's finally at the pinnacle we think, but then he's gonna shoot a 78 on Friday and then miss it ever so slightly. But I do not think we will be talking about Rory McIlroy raising the PGA Championship trophy.
It all started a fateful day at Augusta.
Don't make me sad like this. Come on.
It's just, but we always expect, every single year it's always is this Rory's year, but then it never is.
Yeah. I feel like the thing is, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I feel like that is accelerated or like elevated come Masters season because that is the one tournament he needs to complete his career Grand Slam. So I feel like the talk of is it Rory's years, I feel like it's always heightened around the Masters. So when he doesn't perform at the Masters, it's like, oh, nope, not his year, but it should have been or something. Like he should have gotten it this year, but he didn't. I feel like that talk's always a little heightened around Masters season since he needs that one. But I understand what you're saying. There's definitely been times, like multiple occurrences, where he's fallen well short of expectations. I mean, I don't know. I talked earlier about his past success at Kiowa, how I think it plays to his strength. So I'm going to disagree, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think we're definitely going to see like a big name just not make it.
It happens every tournament, and then every tournament, us the viewers are always, oh wow, that's very surprising. It's bound to happen. It's going to be at least one, probably more, because there's going to be somebody who we've never heard of, similar to Will Zalatoris in the Masters, almost winning the whole thing. So it's just bound to happen. It's something about major golf that you expect the unexpected. So that actually was kind of where I wanted to go next. Matthew Wolff, for those of you who don't remember, about 13 months ago when we were deprived of sports, he was Ricky Fowler's partner against Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy. And he was kind of a nobody then. It has since gained some relevance. And I think he is somebody who we're not expecting at all, but I think could really make a serious push because if you see the way he plays, he does enough with the driver where it's not a liability, but he's also not hitting it, onto the green on a par 4, but he has enough of a short game that is one of those that we don't talk about ever, but really should, because he's just putting it all together, and he's still super young. So if it's not this year, it'll be very soon. So is there any other real sleepers that we should just, I guess we'll be the first to predict here?
I mean, what are we gonna qualify as what are we gonna qualify as a real sleeper, I guess?
So, all right, I'm looking at the PGA Tour standings, and there are some names of relatively, guys that we know, but we don't usually talk around major season.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, because the thing is the guy I was considering is high on the world rankings.
So you have someone like Cameron Champ, he's 95th. Harold Varner
That's the name I
III.
was thinking. I was looking at him right now. Yeah. I'm not the most knowledgeable of him, but he's a kind of younger guy. Hasn't been around too long. Hits the ball well. I think he has an outside shot, maybe a dark horse, but again, I'm not too knowledgeable, so I can't be like too high on him, But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too knowledgeable on these like outside guys. I mean, my guy's definitely not like a sleeper, so to speak, because he's high on the rankings. But despite all the talk he gets, despite his high rankings, someone who's never won a major, who I think we might see just randomly do it this weekend, despite him always coming so close to falling short. I think Xander Schauffele could just come out and just run away. I really think that if he gets hot, he might just be able to like run away with like a 5-stroke lead, but go like come the cut. That wasn't really the question though.
Yeah, he's tied for 7th in the odds. So not too much of a sleeper.
And he's 4th on the world rankings. It's not like he's.
I mean, he's not being
name.
talked about among the contenders, to be fair.
I mean, someone who's a little more outside, who could do well, 36th in the world rankings. I don't know what his position in the odds is. Sam Burns. I feel like Sam Burns, we could see. I'm not sure if he's going to contend for the title, but I think we could see him have a good bit of success and just be one of those names you're not expecting to climb the leaderboards that suddenly on Saturday you're like, wow, he's 3 strokes off the lead.
Another name that just about everybody in the golf world knows, Max Homa, is just, I feel like he's your favorite golfer's favorite golfer just because the way he does it and carries himself in such a great way. He's just somebody that I think if he were to win a major, everybody in the sport would just love it because he's just a great guy, and it's one of those potential victors that would only have a positive effect on the sport. So I actually want to give out a super hypothetical. Is this tournament going to be won because somebody dominates it, or is this tournament going to be won because whoever's leading can't close it out, if you get what I mean?
So like someone falters towards the end and like drops a few strokes.
So not that
Yeah,
anybody's
full
like
story.
minus like 15. It's that there's a bunch of people like -7, -8, and then that -7 leader becomes, -3, -2.
I think it's going to be close down the stretch, but on the final day, somebody's just going to have a banging round and pull away. That's probably how I see it playing out. Like maybe the first few days will be a little inconsistent. People are adjusting to the course and the wind and all that. And I think last day it's just going to be there's going to be that one guy who just comes out on fire and just steals the show.
I mean, I'm gonna go opposite. Honestly, I think that you're gonna see it close just down the stretch. I think there's quite a few names that are being talked about as, hey, this course plays to their strength. Hey, they're on a hot streak. Expect them to continue. Hey, conditions look like they're going to be favorable, like towards this golfer. I really think that we're going to see a cluster of like 4 or 5 players all grouped around like a 2-shot lead. And then in the end, someone may pull away with like 2 birdies back to back that does it for them, or there be a couple of people who falter with like a bogey or 2. But I think that basically in the final 3 holes on Sunday, we're going to see somebody just who's going to edge it out. It could be any of these 4 guys.
You both picked Rory McIlroy at the top of the show. So, Jacob, give me 2 other names of potential winners.
Jordan Spieth. Ooh, okay. Jordan Spieth for sure. You know, I'm gonna stick with my like not that bold prediction. Jordan Spieth and Xander Schauffele.
Preston, two other names, not Rory.
Probably gonna be Justin Thomas is one, and then that's it. I gotta take a look. One sec, but you know, I'm gonna go with Cameron Champ. Why not? Very long shot, but think he can do it.
Why not pick the long shot?
Yeah.
I really like the Justin Thomas pick because somehow we only talked about him here because of his tee time, which is interesting because he's been the model of consistency for the past couple of years. And I think that it's another course that he's perfectly suited for. It's almost built for him in a weird way. So I really like that pick. Another guy I like who we only talked about because of his falters last month, Dustin Johnson. He presents a good opportunity to get back in the good graces of Masters victories. But I'm going to go. Okay. So I know I complained about Bryson before, but I don't know. It's something about him that until he wins, it's going to be ridiculed. But I just think that this might be the time because I don't know if he were to win, I don't know if he would win it 15 under. He might get it a real gritty -6. But I think that this is a course for him that he's going to treat like a DeChambeau playground.
Just jumping back to JT really quick, what I think is kind of interesting, and I mean, I'm not trying to give the guy a lot of flack. I mean, I love Justin Thomas personally. He's my second favorite golfer behind Rory McIlroy, but he hasn't gotten a top 10 finish on a PGA Tour event since the Players in March, where he won it, I believe. I don't think he's gotten a top 10 finish in a tour event since then. I think it's been a while for him. So I don't know. I feel like that cold streak might be hurting him a little bit.
If Justin Thomas wears a vest Thursday or Friday, he wins.
That's all it takes, the vest.
It's something about I'm not a super analytical guy, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that has the Justin Thomas with vest versus without, and I'm sure it's heavier in the vest yes category.
All right, I'll make a note of that. You know, if he's wearing a vest, I'll keep track of how he plays on the days he's not wearing a vest. We can come back with some numbers, figure this out.
And similarly to Justin Thomas's vest collection, Brooks Koepka is just kind of like a model for Nike, and this is another major. So this time on Thursday, Twitter will be all, up in arms about what I think is a cool hat, but what everybody's like, always ruining golf and, get off my lawn. So it's very interesting how the fashion choices of golfers in majors sways and merchandise sales, and then their
If
potential
you're
success.
talking hat game, in my opinion, there's two ways to go. That's DeChambeau or Ricky Fowler. They're two polar opposites, but I love them both. I think they're very unique, and yeah, amazing.
Bryson's hat, fedora, whatever you want to call it.
It's like a beret almost.
It doesn't fit him, but yet it does. I feel like if he had like a mustache with a swirl on it, it would like work a little bit better. But also like he's like a 250-pound man wearing like this little hat, so it's just it's just the dynamic of it that we all really like.
Yeah.
That is all the time that we have for our PGA Championship preview episode. A big thank you to Preston and Jacob. We got a couple more episodes left this week. We will recap the tournament Sunday night after it's over. We're going to have some NBA playoffs later on in the week. Any last words you guys want to get out before I let you go?
Just a quick thanks to everyone for staying tuned and listening. And I think that no matter how it plays out, we're going to be in for a great and a competitive tournament on Saturday or this weekend. I don't know if I said Saturday specifically.
Yeah, well said. One thing I'd add, might be able to catch some in-person coverage of the U.S. Open next month. It's about 30 minutes north of where I live in Torrey Pines. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Unfortunately, I don't think Tiger will be back in time. Won it back in 2008. But yeah, looking forward to this weekend. And it'll be interesting to see how Rory plays.
That's all the time that we have at Wavelengths Pod on Instagram, at the Sportswave Official on Instagram, the Sportswave YouTube channel, the sportswave.com/apply, because, it's unfortunate. Nobody ever talks about golf, and I really like it. And I keep telling X, we need more golf guys. So if you're listening to this and you happen to be said golf guy, the sportswave.com/apply. Great episode. And I don't know. There's nothing else to be said. I think we got most of it. Thank you guys for joining, and we will catch you on the next one.
Have a good one.